right. Hi, everyone. This is Patty Post, your host of the Persevere podcast. I have changed the name. It was the Persevere podcast, which I love. Love the word persevere. I love the meaning behind persevere. But this podcast is for you, for whomever is listening. So I changed it to You Persevere because I truly and sincerely believe that if you keep on persevering in business, that you can accomplish really great things. So, who am I? Why do I care about all of this? I care about it because I think that individuals that have a burning desire to go after it, to get after it, to go through that grind, to think of something new, to bring us something new in the world, shouldn't stop just because there's some roadblocks, whether that's funding, whether that's complications with engineering, whether that's you can't find a space to do your business, whether that's you're really having a hard time acquiring customers. There is always a solution. Everything is figure outable. And that's what this podcast is about. And I want to share my experiences as a founder and CEO of a medtech and healthcare software company. I want to share my experiences and tell you what I've learned along the way, because I've certainly made a lot of mistakes. And I've also had some wins, a lot of wins actually. And most of all, I really don't take things, I take things very seriously. But something that I've learned is that patience, empathy, kindness, generosity, endurance, perseverance, all of these things combined is what makes me special. And I think what makes every entrepreneur special. So that's why I'm changing the layout a bit. I'm not going to be as guest focused. And that's really because I feel like when we get on guests, while I love hearing people's stories, I think that there's a lot of lessons that I learn every day, every week, every month. And as my business progresses and I reflect, there's so many things that I want to talk about just myself, and I want to share it with the audience. This is a podcast for entrepreneurs and business leaders. So maybe you think that you want to have a business, or maybe you are in a business and you are an intrapreneur. This is for you because you have to persevere with roadblocks, whether you're in a corporate or a startup, or you haven't even started your business yet. So we're going to talk about all sorts of business things. I really had quite a few people say, yeah, Patty, why don't you just make this for women? Have this for women entrepreneurs. And I don't really think that it does me or other women any value if we're listening to things that are just for one gender. I really hope that men listen to this podcast, because I will share stories about what it's like to be a woman, and I will share stories of what it's like to be a male entrepreneur, a male in business, because I think that there's opportunity for all of us to become more self-aware. And by hearing of others' experiences, that's how we're going to be more self-aware. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to have a bunch of guests, but I will have guests along the way. One thing that is really important to me are core values, and something of my core values, I have a few things going on. If you're following me personally at Patty Post CEO, I have my family, really passionate about family. Everyone at Checkable knows about my family. I know about their family. I think it's incredibly important to have that that core value, that those people are very important to you, and they're the most important people in our lives. Health is very important to me. So I share journeys about how I'm trying to be my best health right now. I just turned 44 or 43. Oh, I'm dating myself. Just turned 43. So I'm going to talk about health and what I'm doing physically, nutrition wise, even talk about health and a journey of getting older, what we can do, and some things that I'm doing to optimize my health. Um, culture, culture, and compassion, empathy. That is part of our core values as well. And I'm going to talk about really how do I navigate that as a startup with 11 employees and a couple of really strong consultants that we have, as well as an advisory board and investors. How do I navigate that? And entrepreneurship is a core value as well. So how is everyone navigating as an entrepreneur in their role at a startup? I think there's lots of opportunities there. I love to get ideas. Also really love coaching. Coaching's like a huge thing for me. I have a coach. I have a trainer. There are things that we can do to get ourselves together. And I think I got a little interrupted there because I just had someone text me saying that they'd love to be an advisor for my company. Like, that's how things go so fast around here. So that's one thing I'm going to talk about, is the importance of advisors and people that are close to the company, and just people that I can pick up the phone, I can text, I can call. Love to talk about more of that stuff on this podcast. But the long and the short of it is, we're going to talk about the meat of business and instances that I've been through, ideas that I have, and bring on some of my favorites. I think it'd be interesting to talk about case studies, like what's winning right now in business. What brands are really killing it right now, and why are they killing it? Or, wow, we've seen some big mistakes with brands lately, and how are they going to come back from that? So if a little bit of a monologuing, but I feel like I have a lot to share, and I'm of the age now that I can be sharing my experience with all of you. So UPersevere is the name of the podcast, and I'd really love it if you'd come along our journey. I will talk about Checkable. So Checkable, where we want you to own your health through rapid diagnostics, through telemedicine, through our education. I really believe that we can be empowered to make clinical evidence-based decisions from the comforts of home. And we have a brand that's focused on moms, and launching some new products in May. So I'm going to tell you about that. Our app, we designed our own app, developed our own app, and we have telemedicine, our diagnostics, supplement line, launching on Amazon and then digitally. So we'll talk about digital marketing, as well as branding and communication, and doing some fun PR stuff. So we'll get into some PR, as well as the social stuff. I'd love, if you follow Patty Post CEO, you'll see I'm changing some things around in that. And I'm really excited because I'm getting some help there to try to catch that algorithm. I am a social person, and I put stuff out there. I'm not afraid to be myself, but it just really, I haven't had a great message on that. So I'll share things about that. But with that sums up what UPersevere is going to be about. I hope that you tune in our next podcast. I'm actually going to have my coach that's coming on, Lisa Voigt's coming on. She's been my coach for a year now. And we're going to talk about the importance of coaching and how coaching executives actually helps you coach your own employees. Just finished a fantastic book that she gave me, and we talked mainly about, or what the book was mainly about, is why coaching is good for you and specific experiences. And one thing that I really got down to the nitty gritty of was the power of positivity and the power of how we communicate with our employees, how we give them information, will help them come up with a solution or come up with things on their own if we deliver it the right way, as well as the importance of that communication. I mean, I think that empathy and compassion and communication, these are all things that we should have for our employees, and we should care first about them as people and not just about the work that they output. And I think the more that we do that, the better that the output will be. It's a fine balance though. So that's something I'm learning right now as a leader, how to manage. I'm going to have my husband on. We're going to talk about some things of being married to an entrepreneur, the differences of men and women, of what we think of each other, what we value in a relationship, because it's not just about the entrepreneur. There is someone typically behind them that's standing them up, whether that's a husband or a wife, and that person is incredibly important. So we're going to get into that, as well as just some like social issues. I'm not afraid to talk about social issues, and some of them will be like aesthetic. Some of them will be just what's happening in the news. So I hope you follow along, and you have any topics, let me know. We are going to start. We have that LinkedIn page, which I have not been active on. So we'll be on that LinkedIn page. Join as a group. I think it'd be awesome at some point, like, hey, let's get together. I have this big vision of a yoga retreat and in Costa Rica, and my friend Crystal will lead the yoga, and then my friend Sheila will lead the sound baths and the meditation. And then we'll have some nutrition in there, and then just time for networking and goal setting. I know there's a lot of that, but I really want to do it. And so if a group of people want to do it next year with me, that's a vision that I'm casting next February, I think, to get myself out of the cold. Everyone that's in the Midwest knows this. Get yourself out of the cold in the coldest month of the year would be awesome, as well as just meet great people. And I think I might bring my kids on, talk a few things about parenting. And in the digital age of parenting now is really tough. Having that phone in their face, being a present mom, having the phone in my face. Second that I get home, where am I putting the phone? Am I engaging with my family? Am I present for them? Really important topics that a lot of people are talking about. The other thing that I will be talking about is living a life without alcohol. And I decided to give it up 2.5 years ago. And it was the best decision of my life. I'm a better wife for it. I'm a better mother. I'm a better CEO. I'm just all around a happier person. I'd say I'm never been as happy as I am literally at this second. Every day I just get happier. Abstaining from alcohol, it just wasn't serving me. And I think it's a drug that we don't need. So I'll talk about that, because it was hard in the beginning, and sometimes not having alcohol to being at a function, or even how do you self-medicate? How do you unwind if you don't have that? It takes some getting used to, but on the other side of it, it's awesome. Personal development and shooting for the stars I love. A quick story of, I was interviewing Dr. Ricky Brown, who's a plastic surgeon and double board certified. So definitely high performer. Talked about him and some of the things that he's gone through, some self-limiting beliefs, which all of us have, and some of those things that we identified or someone labeled us as a kid, we carry through as adults. But one thing I said to him was, where I was interviewing and I talked about 75 hard. And I was like, oh yeah, I can't get through 75 hard. And he's like, what? Why not? Like, me and my wife do it together. I've done 3 times. I've gone to the third level. Like, why can't you do it? Sounds like excuses. And holy cow, I was like, yeah, man, you're right. I'm going to start it today. And I did. So I've been on 75 hard now since that was March 24th. And I feel great. I put it in my routine. And I think what that did, that's just confirms the power of the people around us, that influence of the people around us. Is it for good or is it for bad? And just one thing can be like a light switch. And that one person can either lift you up or bring you down. And, when I changed my sphere of who I was hanging out with, especially around alcohol, it was very good for me. And I can do better at that, of maintaining relationships from a high powered point of view. And that's where advisors come in for me. It's very helpful. So with that, I just really want to inspire people. I want to be real, want to be approachable. And as I launch a direct to consumer product, I want to have this side of my passion of entrepreneurialism and personal development as a platform through UPersevere, and I want to help others. And I think I can do that with this. So, love for you to keep tuning in. I will do episodes every other week. We will post them on YouTube, and then I am gonna put it as a blog, and we'll have some worksheets too. I think there's some great opportunity where I can do some downloads and help with some goal setting there, because I've learned a lot. I've invested a lot of time there. So that's my story. I love it if you do subscribe, and send me a message. Patty Post on LinkedIn, Patty Post CEO on Instagram, and on TikTok. So like my videos, and I'll follow you back. And let's get started with this, because at the end of the day, we have to keep persevering if we want to accomplish our goals. So, with that, you persevere in business.